Mick Mulvaney, former Trump White House Chief of Staff. A disappointing night for the Republicans, Mick?
Because anytime you see Joe without a tie on, it's disappointing on national television like that. So please, someone straighten him out, would you please? As far as the politics goes, yeah, it's really quite interesting. It's clearly not going to be the red wave. Listen, a lot of what Joe said, I agree with. It's not going to be the massive red wave that a lot of us anticipated. Why do I say that? The Republicans are not winning races that they shouldn't win. They're winning the races that they should win. They're losing the races they should lose, and they're sort of splitting the other races. There's, for example, 3 very hotly contested House races in Virginia. The Democrats will win 2, Republicans will win 1. The Senate races so far falling out the way that a lot of the polling indicated in the last week. The Republicans underperformed in New Hampshire, where they thought they had a chance and where they would have won if there was a true red wave. But they did very well in Ohio. The press here has just called Ohio for the Republican. J.D. Vance's margin is about 9 points. Georgia is still very, very close. It's almost playing out in a boring fashion. If anything, a lot of us here are frustrated with how slow the returns are. Florida's finished counting their votes for the most part, and New York's only counted a third of theirs, and the states closed about the same time. So we're still muddling through the night. I think it's fair to say it's not a huge red wave. There's still a lot of House races outstanding, but really what's frustrating is how long it's taking to count.
So, Mick, where would you see this night and the result for the Republicans in terms of Trump? He got out early and was saying that it's vindication and so on, but if it's not an overwhelming win, does this lead to a contested Republican primary season, as Joe Hockey suggested?
Yeah, there's going to be a contested Republican primary anyway. Joe's right. There's very few things that would keep Trump from running. I think if there was a giant red wave, I don't really think that would have changed the presidential primaries. Trump is still Trump, and Trump still has that impact on the Republican primary voter, regardless of this general election. So I think he was going to run anyway, notwithstanding the couple of issues Joe mentioned, the president's potential health and whether or not he perceived his ability to win. Trump will still, at the end of the day, be judged by 4 races. The Senate races in Nevada, Arizona, Arizona, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and especially Georgia. Herschel Walker, the former football player, personal friend of Donald Trump, used to work for Donald Trump when Trump owned a football team. So that's the one candidate that's most directly associated with him. If Trump loses Georgia, that'll be 3 Senate races that Trump has lost in Georgia in the last 2 years. And it's hard to win the presidency if you can't win Georgia. So we continue to watch those Senate races because of their impact, not only on the control of the Senate, but also on the impact on Donald Trump.